What's going on, guys? Averett13 here. Today I've got the Les George VECP and the Les George ESV. Now, I've been wanting to do a video for a good while on the VECP, but I didn't want it to turn into just a raving ooh and ah video of the VECP, because this is honestly right now my favorite folding knife. But wanted to give you a little more depth, a little more content, and I recently picked up this ESV flipper here and thought that it would be really a good video to kind of combine the two, because the ESV recently released. A lot of people have a lot of questions about it, and then also, these are kind of share a lineage. In fact, the ESV stands for extra small VECP. Now, there are some design differences. Of course, right off the bat, obviously, it's a good bit smaller, but it's also, the ESV is also a flipper knife that is on bearings, as you can see. Now, other than that, similar profile, as you can see on the handle, and of course, they're about the same thickness, but these are quickly become some of my favorite pocket knives. Now, Les George is a smaller batch type maker, USA. He makes his stuff USA, but he's really known, the flagship model really of his folding knife lineup is the VECP. Now, of course, Les George also does make some fixed blades, but really, I think the VECP is kind of his flagship model. But yeah, very, very high quality work. Of course, this one here is a Chad Nichols Damascus. This was a DLT exclusive for the 12 Days of Christmas event. This one up here is the Morph Scales VECP with CTS XHP blade. And of course, like I mentioned earlier, the ESV sporting a Magna Cut blade. Now, real quick, kind of some dimensions on these guys. The VECPs are going to have about a 3.5-inch blade, overall length of about 8.25, right? So let's see if you can see that there. Right, so about a 3.5-inch blade, overall about 8.25. The ESV is going to have about a 2.75-inch blade, overall length of about 6.5 inches. So some other size comparisons here. I'll move one of these out of the way just so you can get an idea. Let's see, here is a McNeese Mac 2. This is a 3.5 McNeese Mac 2. Okay. Here's a Chris Reeve large Sabenza. Okay. Here is a Hinder XM18. Now, XM18, I always like to say, is about the same size as the Spyderco Paramilitary 2 because it is. So if you don't have any of the other knives on the table, but you do have a Spyderco Paramilitary 2, just kind of imagine that this is about the same dimensions as a Paramilitary 2. So that'll be a good frame of reference. The XM18, I think, is always a good knife to give a size comparison to for that reason. And let's see, also here is a Spartan Harsey folder. This is the full-size Spartan Harsey folder. Looks like that. So yeah, back to the VECP here. The full-size one is on washers, right? So I've actually very much come to prefer a knife on washers. I think it adds a little more, what would you call it? A little more work-friendly type build, It's not going to have bearings that are going to gum up, so it's going to require a little less maintenance. Now, these do have, not a deep carry pocket clip, but it's not super, it's not super hanging out of the pocket either. This thing, whenever it's in the pocket, it rides just fine, right? And of course, the ESV has the same pocket clip on it, So it's going to ride in the pocket exactly the same. So, and you can see with the naming terminology, ESV, why they did call it that. Even though it is its own knife, it shares so many design characteristics with the VECP. But yeah, that's it, guys. Les George VECP, Les George ESV in the middle. Very, very good knives, extremely well made. These things are on par with anything that you can think of that's made in the United States, like a Chris Reeve, Hinderer, Medfords, Spartans. These guys are all on par in terms of quality, materials, craftsmanship. So definitely check them out. They are certainly among my favorites in the collection. Guys, any questions or comments, feel free to leave them down in the comments section. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and as always, guys, stay sharp.